Welcome to the Homefront Conversations, your go-to spot stories, laughs, and real talk about home, mortgages, and all the behind-scenes goodness of real estate life. I'm Angie, and this is Mike Purdue with Service First Mortgage. We're your trusted lenders, your favorite home loan matchmakers, and always here to help you feel less overwhelmed on your home buying journey. Today, we're not just talking floor plans and financing, we're talking about passion and purpose. I'm sitting down with someone who's changing the way people think about home building, the founder of NewPad Building Company, Cooper Conger. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
So, Cooper, tell us a little bit about yourself and where you came from.
Yeah, so I am from Boise, Idaho, up north, the Potato State. I grew up there. My dad is a land developer up in Idaho, so he only does land development. He doesn't build houses.
Right.
I grew up working for him in some of his trades and kind of just grew up in the residential development industry. And then when it came time to choose a college, one of my buddies, actually, his older brother and older sister went to TCU. And so they're like, you got to go check it out. I went down there, loved Fort Worth, loved TCU. Neely's a solid business school, and it was wraps from there. I applied, got in, and spent 4 years here. Just loved it so much. Started building while I was in school and stuck around.
Did he have you cleaning lots at 10 years old?
Yeah, he did. It was child labor.
You got to learn. It's free labor, you know. He wants to eat tonight. You got to clean that lot.
His builder's kid and I were actually, I can just picture us just drilling in T-posts on some sort of fence they needed to build on a vacant property.
Oh, that's hilarious.
Child labor.
You know, as a musician, my dad, I'd follow him to the clubs and all that. Oh yeah, I was the 11-year-old roadie and all of that stuff. So
plugging in
I remember all that. Yeah,
doing the dirty work.
I barely pick these up. So the dads abuse us like that. So
I love it.
So you didn't grow up in Texas. And how did you find out about TCU?
So I've been looking.
What made you want to stay here after?
Yeah.
That?
So I was looking, and I've always loved Texas. You know, I've never actually been, but Texas, I was a cowboy growing up.
Better weather too.
That's true. Yeah, and so I always grew up. I loved horses. I loved riding them. Like my birthdays, I'd always go ride horses. I loved wearing boots. I just loved cowboys, and my dad loved Western, so he kind of, the cowboy way. And then I was just like taking like what college should I go to, just looking them up. I knew I wanted like a bigger college, but still like a small college feel. I wanted the football program. I wanted all that. And TCU just kept popping up, and I had my friend's older brother and older sister that went there, and they just kept saying you should check it out. And so I came down we flew into Fort Worth, and stayed in Fort Worth for about a week, toured TCU, kind of went around Fort Worth.
And you didn't want to go home?
So, yeah, I just loved it. I grew up in a small town with Boise, and I've always said, and I still say, Fort Worth just feels like a small town. It's not, but it feels like it is one. More so than Dallas, more so than Austin when I've been down there. And so I just, kind of got bored during college and started looking at some land. And, my dad's always said, you should be a land developer. And I never believed him. And I started seeing some opportunities, went home for COVID actually, and got really in the weeds working for my dad, putting together budgets, seeing how the financing went and everything like that. I was a little bit older and everything like that.
The stressful side of it.
Yeah, yes, precisely.
Yes.
But the valuable side.
Yes.
And we just kind of said, let's do this thing. And started looking into land while I was stuck at home during COVID. Did nothing else but search for land all day. And found a solid piece up in North Fort Worth. And off of that, I was talking to an old developer there about an easement I needed abandoned. And he had developed this whole subdivision. And I said, I need this easement abandoned. And he said, okay, I'll do it, but you need to buy this very last lot I have in my subdivision. And I was like, gosh dang, I don't know how to build a house, but, what do you want for it? And he offered me just a crazy good price at the time. It was,
did you call Dad and say, what should I do?
Yeah, always. And he kind of just told me the price, and it was a good price, and we went, it was probably early 21 when this happened, and early 2021, and we just said, screw it, let's figure out how to build a house.
Wow.
And that's when I hired my construction manager kind of on a fee basis on that house, paid him as the construction draws went for it. And the rest was history. Picked up some lots next door and just said, let's just keep doing this.
That's a great way to start.
Yeah.
What's funny is when I hear Boise, other people, they hear Boise or Idaho, they think potatoes.
Yeah, me too.
When I hear Boise, you know what I think of? A blue football field.
Smurf turf.
That's the only thing I think of. Boise State, their football field is
Yeah.
blue. And I know that's not on topic, but that's what I think. And I can't watch it. I can't watch them. They had a bowl game this past.
Yeah, the potato bowl.
Yeah, and I'm just like, I can't watch this.
You got to get there in person.
Maybe in person I can handle it, but on TV it just throws me off.
And the field is blue. Is the seats blue?
I don't know.
Okay.
I can't take some off the field.
Some of them are blue. Yeah,
no, we're totally off topic, but I'm just like, that's what I think of when I think of Boise.
You're good. So what made you stay? Did that just say, okay, this solidifies me staying in Texas, or what else?
Yeah, I started doing that. And there was a point where I could have said I don't want to be here and let's just sell and finish out these projects and then get the hell out. But just as it kept going, I stayed here during the summers, after my sophomore year, then after my junior year, I stayed and lived here both those summers and kind of just loved it. I'm not a complex guy. I don't need big cities or all that stuff. I really just like how Fort Worth feels like a small town.
For a city the size of Fort Worth, it is very laid back.
Yeah.
So,
and that's kind of how I am, and
we try to keep it that way.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Well, we were both from Arlington, and we've kind of stayed in Arlington, Fort Burleson area, but Fort Worth, that's home for us.
Yeah.
So
when I was in the military, I always said I was from Fort Worth. I never said Dallas. They would say, "Oh, you're from Dallas." No. Let me correct you on that.
Strong conviction.
Dallas,
I don't claim Dallas. My entire family's from there, Dallas, and
I had a builder group come to town. I'm part of a builder group, builders all over the country, and they kept saying, "Oh, we're coming to see you in Dallas in a month." I was like, "No, you're not.
No,
you're coming to see me in Fort Worth.
You won't see me in Dallas."
No, and it became a running joke of them giving me crap. We're coming to Dallas.
Yeah.
No, you're not.
Yeah, that's funny.
Fort Worth.
I'm from about that.
Me as well.
Well, cool. So, what do you remember the first thing you ever built?
The first thing I ever built, well, it'd probably be a Lego set.
Yeah.
If we're going the very first thing.
Okay.
The very first thing I built, though, was that house that I told you about. The developer sold me that lot, and that was the first thing we built.
We were out there looking for a spot to put the signs the other day. He pointed to the street, and he's like, "That's where my first house was."
Yeah, it's fun to.
What'd you say? It's still standing, or
still there? Must have done something right.
Perfect.
Not bad.
Sweet. So where did you go from, I just want to explore this, to I love this and this is what I want to do for a living?
Yeah, I kind of just fell into it. I started during my freshman year of college. Like I said, I kind of just got bored doing school, and I just started driving around, just going to see what was developing, what was going on. It's funny, the house I bought right out of college, I actually drove that neighborhood before it was ever developed, and it was all just vacant land. And now I live in one of the townhouses that was built on it. So that was kind of cool. I remember driving that as a freshman. But yeah, I just started driving, and then the love started to build for it, and the passion really just as you start doing it, and you start to see all the intricacies that go into home building and all of the different ways to run your business and run a good company. It's just, you almost get drowned in stuff to do or stuff you can do and how to be a better company, how to be a more efficient company, the processes and everything. And I kind of just fell in love with that. The constant improvement of it was what really was fun for me. And that's just what I strive to do every day.
Let's talk about NewPad. What's the name behind the brand?
NewPad.
Yeah.
What do you mean by that?
What's the heart behind the brand
okay.
you have there? So what created that name?
So NewPad, I kind of just, me and my mom actually kind of came up with the name because, we always used to call my house my pad. I think that's my pad. And then, we're building new ones, so we just called it NewPad. But it's, yeah. Okay. Mm-hmm. But as far as, we always wanted we want to build quality and affordable infill houses. We always saw, and we're just driving around Fort Worth, you can see it. There's a big need for infill developers. And you talk to all these, big builders, land brokers that sell land to big builders, they won't touch anything under 50 units. And that is very difficult to find anywhere. Fort Worth city limits are lucky. They do have a lot of land, but not many large parcels remaining. And so that infill development, there's a big need for it. And in some of these infill areas, development costs have gone up so much, you're actually able to find lots for a better price than what you can develop them at a lot of the times. And they're in these up and coming areas, close to the city center, close to restaurants like near Southside, Magnolia, things like that, where you're actually able to bring a house at a really good, affordable price in these infill areas. And so we just saw a niche where these bigger builders aren't willing to go into that market, but we were willing to go into that market, and we enjoyed doing it. And so our really the heart behind it is building quality and affordable infill houses. Because there's a stat that I always love and I always cite that says that the average net worth of a renter is about $10,000.
Okay.
The average net worth of a homeowner is $400,000. And so, if you're able to set that person on one step towards, that amount of net worth, I think you've done something great for them.
Absolutely.
And I know Angie and I have talked about it. She loves getting people out of renting and into a home. So I know she's just
really good at
passionate about
convincing
it.
people of that. And I hear this a lot. It's like people can't buy homes anymore. Our kids can't buy homes anymore. I've got a son. He's a veteran, and he's a disabled veteran, so he receives that. VA just passed a rule now where you don't have to be married. You can be common law married and count them on the application. And when I told him that 2 weeks ago, he's like, "My lease is up in August." So now he's interested in buying
Yeah.
with his soon-to-be fiance, and the reason he's able to, and I told him, I said, one, I got off topic there, but there are builders out there that are geared towards people that can buy, that think they can't.
Mm-hmm.
So
For sure.
and it's like I can't afford these $3,000 a month payments, and yours was $1,500 when we were growing up, and it's like there's builders out there that do sell these homes
for sure.
that are $300K and stuff like that. And I mean, we work with over 45 builders, and I know what you're saying.
Yeah.
They won't touch anything that if they're not going to build 50 or more in there. So, but it's unique to see a product out there that's smaller and more intimate, that fits their goals and their financial. It's a great starter home for a lot of people. Some people want to live there forever. Some people want to downsize to a home that size.
For sure.
We had the big house in Arlington and Kennedale, and we sold it in 2020 and downsized to 1,000 square feet less.
Yeah.
And the kids still follow us to Berlin.
Well,
But
going back to the first time home buyer, getting out of rents and into owning, if there's a will, there's a way.
Yeah.
There's so many down payment assistance programs and grants and things like that we can help somebody get out. It's just in working with builders, there's that incentive as well.
Yeah.
And then we give our incentive. So it's a partnership and setting them up for success for the future and laying that foundation. So I'm a big advocate for that, especially those first time home buyers. I love it.
Yeah. You found plenty of creative ways to get buyers in my houses already. So it's
what?
Plenty of creative ways to
yeah.
get buyers into our houses.
She's got her way of doing that.
We got to think outside the box. I like the box, but I like to be outside the box too. So, I want to go back to NewPad for just a second. I want to let you know when I first was thinking about NewPad, I was thinking about the frog at TCU, and you were hopping on the NewPad.
A lily pad.
So I was like, well, maybe that's.
I've never got that one before. I thought you were a concrete. I thought you were a foundation guy pouring slabs or pads. I've gotten that, but never a frog.
Sorry. I was trying to think of your past and where you came from and all that stuff. Anyway. So on your website, it says, there's a motto on your website. It says, ditch the cookie cutter neighborhoods and discover distinctive quality homes near city heartbeats. I love that. And so staying near the city heartbeats why is that so important to you?
That's so important to us because I do think we do have a problem with the suburban sprawl type deal as we see. I mean, all these master plan communities and everything like that is great, but at the same time, not everyone wants an hour commute to work. Some people do, and that's great. Some people want to be closer to the city heartbeats, such as the local restaurants. As that suburban sprawl goes, I feel like when I drive out that way, all I see are chains. You see the Chick-fil-A, you see all that, And I feel like when I drive these infill areas, you see the local mom and pop restaurant, you see the local gas station, things of that nature that you don't totally get as you go further out towards the suburban areas. And I think my buyers search for that as well. And so that's where that inspiration comes from. And I just think, like I said, that infill, there's a great opportunity in these infill areas. And I think that it's great for the city of Fort Worth to develop these areas as well.
I love it. What are some design or build choices you're very proud of, super proud of?
So one of our big ones is our custom closet systems. That's one of the things that we get a lot of comments on. Is we give you plenty of places to put your shoes, hang your long dresses. We like to think that the wife or the lady of the house gets to make the decision a lot of the time. So we try to gear towards, let's get her lots of closet space and let's make it an enjoyable experience to move into your new house. So I'd say our closet systems, we are proud of our cabinets as well. We do nice soft close cabinets and soft close.
I did the first time homebuyer class on your last remaining home on the cul-de-sac.
Yes, sir. Yeah.
And it was massive amount of closets. And one of the first things I noticed when we were in the kitchen was the cabinets.
Yeah.
And the soft close. It's like, whoa, I don't have to slam that thing.
So, hardware and
but it's small little things like that, little details that people see and they appreciate. So
shameless plug. That's a quarter-acre cul-de-sac lot. 2-story, beautiful house.
Yeah, you've
proud,
haven't you?
No, sir. It's still available.
Contract on that.
Last one available.
Oh, okay. Well, hey, that's definitely a plug. We want to make sure that one gets. What was the address again?
144 Magnolia State Street, cul-de-sac lot. Last one available.
What's the price on that?
$349.
$349.
Just dropped it.
Say $359.
Yes,
that's perfect.
Hopefully, we can get some.
And you're offering 10,000.
That's correct. Yes, sir.
So that neighborhood, if you've not been out there, is an amazing neighborhood. It's right close to downtown Crowley.
Yep.
And it's a beautiful.
It's about, what, 15 houses on that one
15
street?
houses.
23
houses. 23
houses.
All of them.
Built all of them. Yeah. One cul-de-sac.
One way in and one way out.
That's low HOA fees.
And this one is at the very end of the cul-de-sac, which makes it even better.
Last one. Yeah.
I love it. And it's a bigger lot than the back. The backyard's bigger, all that good stuff. So are there any features that you refuse to put in your homes?
Refuse to put in my homes. Let's think about this.
Are you seriously regret doing it?
Oh, yeah. Exactly. It's like, no, I don't want to do that.
I'll do it, but I didn't want to do it. So
I've seen some builders do 3-tab shingles. I think it's going away, but I refuse to do those.
The first that said that, so
I don't. They just, you get a little gust of wind and those things are gone. Let's think if there's anything else. The wire closet shelving systems, those aren't really a thing yet in Texas. I think they're going to come eventually. Mm-hmm. Up north, you see that all the time. We just really like the trim true wood trim, and nice closet systems with the rods instead of that plastic. When you put a hanger on it, you hear it tink.
Yeah.
And so those two, I think, are some pretty good examples. But that's all I got. I think
that's the reason I only do plastic hangers in my closets, because I've got wood now, but I think I had the apartment at one time, and I was like, ooh, I like that. So now that I know other people notice those kind of things.
What kind of buyers do you think are drawn to NewPad, and what are you thinking of what type of buyers do you want?
Mm-hmm. So we get a lot of first-time home buyers, and that's typically can be a younger couple wanting to get into their first house. They're coming from renting. We've seen that before. Or a young couple that maybe just had their first kid. They don't need a big house, but they want to move out of an apartment and get into a house. And then the other aspect we see, kind of like you mentioned earlier, is that downsize buyer. That buyer that wants to be close to their kids. Maybe their kids just moved into that neighborhood in a little bit bigger house, and they're coming and want to be next to their grandbabies. Or just somebody who is, getting towards that retirement age. We recently had a bus driver that we had a house that was close to downtown Fort Worth, right next to where they pick up their bus to drive it to work every day. And she just was downsizing to a smaller house, didn't need much, and it was right next to her job. And so it worked out well.
That's perfect.
And that's what we try to keep in mind as we build those houses, for sure.
I love that.
So what's one misconception, can't say that word, people have about building a new home that you wish you could clear up?
A misconception about building a new home that we could clear up here. I think that sometimes builders get a bad rap from buyers for sometimes because they think that, they're maybe cheap, or they're just trying to steal people's money or trying to be stingy. And I think it's fair for some builders. I also think that there's two edges of the sword. Number one, buyers need affordability, and buyers need, a less expensive house. And number two, sometimes you got to pull features out of a house, prime example being ceiling fans, that it might not look like much to that end buyer. But every single time we can find a way to pull maybe $200 in ceiling fans, I mean, that's almost $1,000 worth of purchase price coming off of that house. And anytime you can do that, you're getting just a couple more buyers in that buyer pool. And so I think that there's a little bit, and it's not like, an example would be 3-tap shingles. That's just straight cut in the corner, right? That's a lower quality house. If you're able to pull things out like ceiling fans that don't make it a lower quality house, but make it more attainable to buyers, that can then go to Home Depot and install their own fan and probably save $600. I think that that's a misconception that some buyers come into it, that builders are always trying to get a leg up on them or something. I feel like that is a common theme I've seen.
When we built our house in 2020, Nicole said, no ceiling fans. We're going to pick our own.
We'll do them, yeah.
And sure enough, and then I got to install all of them. So
that worked out.
On the 10-foot ceiling is always great. Yeah. What's your proudest moment since you've launched NewPad?
I think my proudest moment was when I got my first office. My first office is just west of downtown Fort Worth, off Camp Bowie.
Where we're about to move to. So
yeah, right over there,
off of
my Uncle Julio's.
Yeah,
good spot. Yeah, it was just really cool to finally be able to kind of plant my flag in Fort Worth. I've been working from home with my extra office that I have, and then I finally got an office and got some people moved into it, and so that was really cool.
Yeah, and you're near your title company right there off of Hewlett.
Exactly. Yeah. Right next to them, and right close to downtown, so we get on 30 and go wherever we need to go. It works out well.
That's awesome.
So what's your proudest moment since, I'm assuming getting your office was that proudest moment? Sorry. Okay, let's have a little fun. We'll have a lightning round.
Okay. It's exciting.
Let's get to know you a little bit better.
Okay.
Coffee or energy drinks? I think I know the answer to this one, but go ahead.
I used to be a huge energy drink guy. That's all I drink. But then I've recently, since I got this office, one of my employees requested a coffee machine. So I got us a coffee machine.
Oh, yeah.
And so I've kind of been, there's just a different type of energy I feel from coffee that I've sadly gotten a little hooked on. So it's coffee for me.
I never drank coffee until I went in the military, and we drank it to stay warm. And to this day, all I drink is black coffee. We didn't have sugar or cream, all of that. So I've just acquired the taste of black coffee. So
I'm the same. We just started with black coffee, and I've tried like some lattes and stuff. And it's just like I'll just take it black.
Yeah. It's easier that way too. So.
Sweet.
What's your guilty pleasure song on the job site?
Oh gosh,
on a job site playlist.
On a job site playlist. Oh man,
I love this one.
Crank it up.
Because I've got my my stressful days.
Yes.
Do you have a guilty pleasure song?
Oh yeah, I'll if I've had a stressful day and I'm driving home, I'll crank up some AC/DC or some Rush or.
There you go. What song?
Rush. I'll go Tom Sawyer on that. AC/DC Highway to Hell. So
there you go.
I'll just crank them up. So, but if I'm exhausted, then I'll throw on some Big Head Todd and the Monsters or something like that.
There you
go. I've got a wide variety of music. So, but what's yours?
For my buddies back home, it's got to be "No Flockin'" by Kodak Black.
Really?
It's a rap song, but that's your guy. It's a guilty pleasure for a reason.
It is. Yeah.
I've turned into a country guy since coming to Fort Worth, but sometimes you just got to get back to your roots.
Yeah.
Well, mine is it's gonna be rock. It's gonna be country. You never know what's gonna be on my playlist because it's just random. And I'm like, whatever the mood is, I don't like that one. Click.
Skip it.
Skip it.
On to the next one.
Exactly.
No.
Well, what tool are you oddly attached to?
That is an interesting question.
Cell phone, I bet. I never could say cell phone.
Probably either my schedule or my Excel sheet. I have an Excel sheet that I really am attached to, and my Builder Trend schedule. We've got that pretty dialed in, and I like to keep it on time. So
I think mine is my morning. I get reports that are sent to me by email like 5 a.m. and that's one of the first things I look at is the report and to see what's come in, what status it's in, did it change from the day before?
Yeah,
things like
gotta have your scoreboard.
Then if I see our volume for that month drop, then it's like, hey, who didn't notify me that we rolled a loan or we pushed it out or the customer canceled or they bought a truck and now they can't afford the house.
Yes.
I never like those. And it's like, hey, what happened to our pipeline, our volume? So
mine is, every morning when I grab my alarm and my phone, and I look at it and I'm like, email. And that's before I ever get up out of bed. And then the last
You're on emails while you're still in bed.
Yes, and then because I want to know what's going to go on that day, and I also look at my calendar, and then I'll set it down because I'm like, I got to go, or I've got a plan to make sure I'm here at this point and things like that. But I'll also do it the last thing I do before I go to bed to make sure I didn't miss anybody.
Yeah,
and that's me too. I answer every email before I go to bed. So
it's a dedicated loan officer right there.
Yeah, exactly.
Any time of day.
Any time of day. Well, and it kind of I guess more of its answers at the end of the day. What? Okay, yeah, that's great. They got back to me, or did I send everything out like I was supposed to? Everybody got a response. Okay, good. I can go to sleep.
I can go to bed now.
Everybody on our team is early risers, so I can literally text them at 7 a.m. and they're answering. I was texting you at 7.
Yeah,
and I knew you'd answer because we're all early risers. So.
Well, you can get a jump on the day.
Yeah.
Especially if there's something pressing, you need to tackle it. Go ahead and jump on it early.
Yeah, for sure.
It's whatever.
Your favorite part of the home building process?
Closing day. Yeah.
It's always a good day.
Besides that, seeing a fresh foundation poured with lumber sitting right next to it, that's good.
There's a lot of things you see there. You see somebody's dream coming true. You're seeing money.
Yeah,
all kinds of stuff.
You're seeing all sorts of stuff, and it's just fun to watch that house come together. Especially once you get drywall up and textures on, you just know you're gonna. Yeah. Next thing you know, it's gonna be listing photo time.
My biggest joy is closing and watching somebody's dream come true. Whether it's a $200,000 house or a $1 million house, it doesn't matter. We always treat them all the same, and I think the most memorable moment that really has hit me in my coming up on 22 years in this industry was just a few years ago, and it was a disabled veteran that had a 500 something credit score, and I said, this is what you need to do. And I worked with him for several months and this is when I was still originating. I worked with him for several months to get his credit scores, and I got a text message on Christmas Eve one night, and I'm sitting there with my own family. We're opening presents and all that, and Nicole looks over and says, "You're tearing up, what's up?" Because I was on my phone. It's like, check this message out. And it was from him. He was a disabled Marine. He's like, I just want to let you know I'm sitting here with my family in my own house, and I wouldn't be able to do this. I'm getting chills thinking about it. And I wouldn't have been able to do this unless you were there to hold my hand through the entire process. And that has meant more to me than any loan I've ever closed. They all mean a lot, but that one really hit home. And that really made an impact on what we do and what you do and what Angie does and all of us, what we do for our buyers. And it's not just another name or another loan number. It's actually a person and a family behind that. And that really went, I think I went to work the next day or the next time we went to work, and I explained that to the team. And it's like, look what we do for people.
Yeah,
and
that's why you do it.
Yeah. It's a gift. I mean, or for me, that's a complete joy and a gift. And it makes your job satisfying, that you actually get to help somebody. I've got somebody coming up in April that's actually closing. Then I started with them in February of 2024.
That's amazing.
And so
over a year? Wow, that's dedication.
He had some issues he needed to work on, things like that with credit. And so we've just been working on it slowly.
You don't give up on them. So.
No.
And I know dozens of loan officers that would say, the hell with it.
Yeah.
Call me when you're ready.
Exactly.
So, and I hate that.
Yeah.
But, I'm going to give you the plans and tools to get there. It's up to you to do it. Unfortunately.
Show you how to do it.
Exactly.
And I can help you.
Are you doing this? Yeah. Well, not all lenders do that. What's great about y'all is y'all do come up with a nice plan for people, and you give them the plan and you can follow up, but they got to follow it.
At least once a week I get a loan where a buyer and they said, hey, I've applied somewhere, but they never called me back. And that tells me right there, their credit sucks or something like that. But we're going to still look at it and put them on a path for home ownership. Right. And that just tells me that lender that worked with them, they shouldn't be in this
bad lender
at all.
For sure.
At all. And it drives me nuts. And there's so many of them out there that do that.
We have, it's a path to home ownership as a sheet that we give them, as well as I can give them a PDF of the steps to do on your credit.
That is
awesome. Hey, this is 1 month or this is 3 months out. Yeah. I'm giving this to you.
And so many people don't know that you can, that there are steps that you can improve your credit, and rather quickly too. In some cases,
it's awesome. If they've got a few bucks and they want to pay off a bad debt, we can literally have that paid off and removed from their credit in 5 days.
Yeah, it is awesome.
And their score increased too. And they're just like, how? It's like, that's what we can do.
Yeah.
People don't want to waste the time on that. Mm-hmm. A lot of loan officers don't want to waste the time on it, and I hate that.
Yeah.
It makes all of us look bad.
Exactly.
does.
Exactly. You know, you got to have a heart for people. And just, I mean, I'm just so happy. So a few months ago, you had a taco truck at
Yeah.
your neighborhood at
Mhm.
Magnolia Estates. And it was so neat to see the people that have helped come out and give you a
Yes.
hug and
Yeah.
say, "Hey, got this
I was there, and I
It's
was
like,
I was
that
saying,
makes you
look,
feel
that's
good.
a client. That's a client. I didn't even know I could tell.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just the connection that's there that they know that helped them get to a spot. And
Well, our goal
love
as a company is to not just close a deal. We want a customer for life.
Yeah.
Just like you want a customer for life.
For sure.
I mean, that's
And a
a
referral.
lot of and a lot of our business is repeat business or referrals, and that's a ton of our business, which is just treating people right. I want to see this next question that you're about to ask.
What's your biggest oops moment on the job site?
Yeah, that's a fun question. Yeah, there's can be.
I saw this one and I was like, oh, this will be funny.
We forgot to build a porch, so that was our foundation guy didn't catch it on the plans and forgot to put it in our front.
Oh wow!
Yeah, in a historic district where a porch is required.
Oh my god!
And so we kind of got there, and my construction manager didn't catch it. I didn't walk it before we poured either. So I mean, everybody's fault.
It's human. It's a human element.
And so me and Ramon go out there one day and we're looking at each other. There's no porch. And so we just figured it out. You know, my foundation guy came back out, poured us a little porch. We figured out how to make it look nice enough to work and connect it with the existing structure, because it was too late at that point to go in and actually, you know, rebuild the whole structure. And you don't want to put that much pressure on something that wasn't poured with everything else, you know. And so it worked out. But yeah, that sucked. That was oops. But yeah, hopefully not many more bigger than that.
Right.
Who's your dream celebrity client you'd love to build for?
We don't do build jobs, we only do specs.
That's it?
That's it.
That's a good answer.
No build jobs.
That's a good answer.
I like it.
Yeah.
So, what is your go-to late night snack after a long day?
Yeah. So my fiance knows this very well. I like her to microwave a cookie for about 9 to 10 seconds and then put a little ice cream on there.
Oh,
it is unreal. That's my favorite late night snack. Brambleberry crisp. You know, no free ads, but it's some good ice cream.
Okay.
I love it.
I'm addicted to HEB chocolate chip. Their HEB's ice cream.
Is that their ice cream?
Your ice cream is incredible.
I'll have to try it.
You got to try it.
I'm a big ice cream guy, so is my dad.
But I just like vanilla with chocolate chip, you know. And
nothing wrong with that.
No, and it's HEB is some of the best.
Yeah.
And it's like $2 for the little bitty one. So, and you got this expensive Haagen-Dazs, and I can eat like 5 bites of that, and it's like that's too rich. I can't eat. No.
I'm not a sweet. I mean, I don't have a sweet tooth. I would love to have a sweet tooth, but I grew up with my mom always baking. Always cookies, cakes, something always out. Well, I don't know if it's because I was little and I just got burnt out on sugar. I don't know. So today it's like I have to be in that mood for sugar.
No.
Yeah.
But otherwise,
it's on to me every night when I got it. So before I go to bed, it's on to me every night for that. So.
What any specific type of nut, or just
mixed nuts?
Just mixed nuts.
No salt.
No salt. Oh.
What's wrong with you?
It's enough to fill you up, but just a little snack to get you.
What's next for NewPad? Anything exciting that we have coming up?
Our most exciting thing we got coming up is our 27 lot. It's a new infill community up in North Fort Worth.
I've been there.
Just north of Saginaw, off of 287 and Bonds Ranch Road. 27 lots. We are pre-selling right now. So we actually have a pre-sale event this Saturday coming up from noon to 3. We'll be out there. Mike will be grilling dogs.
Yep.
We got 2 opening day tickets for the Sunday, March 30th, Boston Red Sox.
First opening day is Thursday, and Sox are in town. So
we're raffling off 2 tickets for that. Come learn more about our product. It'll be starting from the low 300s, so an amazing price up there to get you into that Northwest ISD.
What do people need to do to secure a lot?
They just got to come out, and we're actually going to be securing lots that day. So all they got to do is sign a little piece of paper that says you're going to put a $500 deposit down that week. And then we'll negotiate all the pricing, contract, selections, everything else later. That $500 is fully refundable if you back out. We're not in the business of taking $500. We're in the business of building people houses.
This is a really cool community. I don't know if you've been there, but it's a horseshoe.
Mm-hmm.
and it's so all you that's it, and I love it. So it's one way in. Oh, and you can make the loop, but yeah, I mean it's a horseshoe, so it's a really good community. So
Awesome. So finally, if somebody wants to get a hold of you, how do they get a hold of you and NewPad?
Well, I'm easy. It's newpadbuildingco.com. My phone number, my personal email are both on there. Text me, call me. That's one of the big things that people love about working with us, is that they're able to work directly with me as the builder and the owner, which is pretty rare nowadays.
See that?
Yep. And so I'm very upfront. You can DM me on social media, email me, shoot. You can probably tweet at me, and I'd get with you somehow. So I'm easy to get a hold of.
So if you can't, if for some reason you can't get a hold of him, but we can.
Yeah.
But you can also reach out to Mike and I, and we'll be able to connect you
And
with him.
what's your website?
NewPadBuildingCo.com.
NewPadBuildingCo.com.
Yep. And if you need Angie, just email her maybe 9 p.m. right before she goes to bed. She'll get right back to
it. She'll get right back to it.
Exactly. So join us Saturday, March 29th for an exclusive pre-sale event at Trails of Fossil Creek, located at 451 West Ranch Road, Fort Worth, Texas, 76013. It's 1 to 3.
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 All three of us will be there. We'll be happy to help you pick out a lot for your future home.
Let's do it.
Appreciate you.
Thank y'all for having us. I appreciate y'all. Thank you.